She had a trick. A good one. She had been using it for years. When someone pointed a camera at her, she stepped to the side. Just slightly. Just enough to be behind someone taller. Or she offered to take the picture instead. Or she found something urgent to do in another room. She had become so good at this that there were entire years of her children's lives where she existed only as a voice off camera, a hand in the corner of the frame, a shadow at the edge of someone else's memory. She was 40 years old. She weighed 600 pounds, and she had spent the last 8 years getting very, very good at not being seen. This is the story of how she stopped. Not perfectly, not all at once, but for real, for good. The story. Her name is Renee. She grew up in Columbus, Ohio. Middle child of 5. Her mother was a practical woman who showed love through action, through packed lunches and pressed school uniforms and showing up to everything, every game, every recital, every school play, but who did not always say the words. Her father was warmer, softer. He called her his bright one. Not because she was the smartest, though she was close. Because she laughed easily and thought quickly and could make a room feel better just by being in it. She was large from early on. Not enormous, but large. Large enough to know it. Large enough to learn the particular skill of funny girls and smart girls who do not fit the mold. The skill of making yourself so useful, so entertaining, so easy to be around that people forget to see you as a body at all. She was a sophomore in high school before she realized she had built her entire personality around that skill. She did not stop. She was too good at it. She went to Ohio State, majored in communications, graduated with a 3.7 and a job offer in marketing at a mid-size firm in Columbus before she even walked at commencement. She was 23 and she was going to be fine. She met David at 25. He was a project manager. Steady. Calm. The kind of person who remembered birthdays and changed the oil on time and always knew where the flashlights were in a power outage. He loved Renee in a quiet, consistent way that she initially mistook for boring and later understood to be the rarest thing in the world. They married at 27. Chloe came at 29. Jake at 31. She took maternity leave twice and came back to work both times and kept the career going and kept the household going and kept herself going on 4 hours of sleep and drive-through coffee, and the particular adrenaline of a woman who has decided that being needed is the same thing as being okay. It is not the same thing. She learned this slowly. The weight had been building since college. Not dramatically. Not all at once. A little each year. The way a river rises slowly before you realize it has changed course. After Jake was born, she noticed it was harder to keep up. After her 33rd birthday, she noticed the chair situation, which is what she called it privately. The chair situation. Plastic chairs at outdoor events. Folding chairs at school functions. Restaurant booths. Turnstiles. Airplane seats. Every new space requiring a private calculation she had done so many times it had become automatic. Will I fit? Will it hold? Will anyone see me check? She became an expert at the calculation. She stopped going to things that required too many calculations. She told people she was busy. She was busy. But that was not why. At 35, she stopped going to the gym she had been paying for since 32. At 36, she started working from home permanently. Her company had gone remote anyway. It was easy to make it permanent. Easy to make it invisible. At 37, David got a job offer in Denver. They moved. New city. New house. New school for the kids. New everything. Except Renee. Renee arrived in Denver already gone. Already the woman who managed everything from the couch and watched through windows and said yes to nothing that required her to be seen. The house in Denver was bigger than Columbus. She told herself this was nice. More space. More room. She did not examine what she meant by that. At 38, she stopped attending Chloe's soccer games. She had attended every game until then. Every single one. But the fields had bleachers she wasn't sure about and parking lots with uneven ground and other parents who would see her, and she was tired of the calculation. She started watching the game clips David texted her from the sideline. She told herself this was the same. It is not the same. Chloe stopped mentioning the games after a while. Children learn. They are too good at learning the wrong things. At 39, her younger sister Vanessa came to visit from Columbus. Vanessa is 36. She is a nurse practitioner. She is also the family member who does not perform politeness when something important is being ignored. She arrived on a Friday. She hugged Renee for a long time. Then she looked at her. Not at her body. At her. And she said, "Renee, what is happening with you?" Not a question. The kind of sentence that does not need a question mark because it is already inside the answer. Renee said everything is fine. Vanessa said I know you. And everything is not fine. Renee did not answer. Vanessa sat down. She said I am not going anywhere until we talk. They talked. For 6 hours. Renee said things she had not said out loud to anyone. About the calculations. About the soccer games. About the way she had watched her own daughter's childhood through a phone screen from a couch. About the way she disappeared from photographs. About the way she had disappeared from her own life so quietly that she was not sure anyone had noticed. Vanessa said, "I noticed. David has noticed. Chloe has noticed. Jake is 9 and he told me last night that his mom doesn't come places and I did not know what to say to him." Renee closed her eyes. She sat with that. Jake, 9 years old. Already describing her as someone who doesn't come places. Already incorporating her absence into how he understood the world. She thought, that is not who I am. That is not who I want him to think I am. I have to do something. I have to do something right now. Vanessa stayed for 10 days. She was not there to fix anything. She was there to help Renee start. Just start. Which is different from fixing. Fixing implies you know where you are going. Starting just means you take one step. The first step was a phone call to a doctor. Not a telehealth screen. An actual appointment. In an actual office. Renee had not been to an in-person doctor in 3 years. The office had a bariatric scale in a private room. They did not make her stand on the scale in front of anyone. The doctor was a woman named Dr. Chun. She had the particular quality of a person who had heard everything and was not going to waste Renee's time pretending she had not heard it before. She said, "Here is what is happening in your body." She said, "Here is what we can do." She said, "You are 40 years old and nothing is unfixable yet." She said, yet with enough care that it landed like a door being opened rather than a warning. The second step was therapy. This one Renee resisted. She had done therapy at 30. It had helped with some things. She had stopped when she felt better. She was not sure she remembered how to tell someone things she had not told anyone. The therapist's name was Dr. Marcus Webb. He was 50 years old. Black. A former athlete whose body had also changed over the years in ways that had required him to renegotiate his relationship with himself. He did not say this directly. He didn't have to. She could see it. In their 4th session he asked about the photographs. Why she stepped out of them. She said the usual thing. She said she didn't like how she looked in photos. He let that sit for a moment. Then he said, "Who decided you needed to like how you look to deserve to be in the picture?" She opened her mouth to answer. Nothing came out. He said, "Your children are building their memories right now. Every day the archive of their childhood is being constructed. And you are deciding every time you step out of a frame that you will not be in it. Not because you were not there. Because you chose not to be." She went home that day and sat with that. She sat with it for a long time. She thought about Chloe. She thought about Jake. She thought about the archive. She thought about who would be in it. And then she did something she had not done in years. She found David in the kitchen. She handed him her phone. She said, "Take my picture." He looked at her. She said, "Just take it." He took it. She did not look perfect. She did not look like the woman she was going to be someday. She looked like herself. 40 years old. Exhausted and trying. In her kitchen in Denver. Real. She texted it to Vanessa. Vanessa sent back a string of hearts. Then a voice message. She said, "There you are. There is that woman. I have been waiting for her." The physical work was slow. Everything is slow at the beginning. The beginning is the most important part of slow. A physical therapist named Rosa came to the house. She was matter-of-fact and patient and not interested in inspiring Renee. She was interested in helping Renee's body remember what it could do. Week 1 breathing exercises and leg lifts in bed. Week 2 sitting on the edge of the bed without support. Week 3 standing at the kitchen counter for 90 seconds. Small. Each one enormous. David watched all of this without making it a project. He watched it the way he had always watched her, quietly, from close enough to catch her if she fell, far enough to give her room. She had forgotten that about him. She had spent 8 years inside her own disappearance and had missed him being exactly who he had always been. She told Dr. Webb this. He said, "Sometimes we go so far inside ourselves that we come back and everyone is still exactly where they were. And that is its own kind of grace." She cried in that session. The real kind. She had not cried like that in years. She had gone too careful for crying. Too managed. She let herself be unmanaged for 45 minutes in an office in Denver, and came out into the afternoon light with red eyes and a lighter chest and the particular feeling of someone who has just put something down that they had been carrying so long they had stopped noticing the weight of it. Chloe's soccer season ended. Indoor league started. Saturday mornings. A gymnasium at a school 20 minutes away. Renee told David she was going to the first game. He said okay. Not more than that. She did not need more than that. She went. She got there early so she could choose her spot before the bleachers filled. She stood near the wall. She watched her daughter warm up. Chloe did not see her at first. Then she did. She stopped mid-warm-up. She looked at her mother standing near the wall. Her face did something complicated. Something that had relief in it and surprise and something Renee recognized, because it was the same thing she felt every time someone showed up for her when she had lowered her expectations to protect herself. Chloe went back to warming up. But she glanced over 3 more times. Each time her mother was still there. After the game they won 3-2. Chloe scored once. They walked to the car together. Chloe said, "I didn't know you were coming." Renee said, "I should have been coming all along." Chloe did not say anything. She reached over and held her mother's hand while they walked. She is 11. She will not hold her mother's hand in parking lots for much longer. Renee held on. She held on and kept walking. She is not running. She is not going to run for a long time. Maybe she will run eventually. Maybe she won't. That is not the point. The point is she is in the parking lot. She is in the gymnasium. She is in the photograph. She is at the kitchen table and the school game and the Thursday night dinners and the conversations with her children that are becoming something real again instead of managed and distant and careful. She turned 40 in March. David made her dinner. Chloe and Jake made a banner. It was crooked. They spelled birthday wrong. It said Happy Birthday Mom in purple marker. And it was the best thing Renee had seen in years. She sat at the table under a crooked misspelled banner and ate dinner with her family, and she was there. All the way there. In the picture. In the room. In the life. Not behind the camera. Not in another room. Not watching from a distance. There. She thought about who she had been at 32. Before the calculations became everything. Before the disappearing. She thought about the woman who had walked into that Columbus office at 23 with a 3.7 GPA, and a job offer and the whole world still open. She thought about her father, who called her his bright one. Not because of anything she had achieved, because of how she made the room feel. She thought, I can still do that. I can still be that. Not the body of that woman, but the aliveness of her. The brightness. She did not go anywhere. She just got buried. And I am digging her out. One Saturday game at a time. One photograph at a time. One step out of the house into the actual morning. One real conversation with my daughter in a parking lot. One crooked banner that says Happy Birthday. One small, enormous, ordinary miracle at a time. She is digging. She is not done. She is not close to done. But she is in the room. And for the first time in 8 years, she is not standing at the edge of the frame. She is right in the middle of it. Where she belongs.